Hey guys, Jay-Sensei here again. This will be what if Takemichi was Gun. Now this what if I'm trying to keep it going as long as possible. There will be some pauses of like me going to go eat, or probably some pauses of me being gone for a long period of time for me, and then forgetting where I'm at. I'll have to like think for a bit, but this is gonna be like the longest video I can possibly muster. So yeah. What's this what if off? This what if off basically. So wait, now you guys might not know who Gun is, because a lot of people don't read webtoons. But basically, Takemichi, well, not Takemichi, Gun is from from Webtoon Lookism, and he's one of the stronger characters in the series, or one of the strongest, and he's pretty cool to me. So yeah. By the way, I just kind of like did a shot of sriracha for no reason, so my mouth's on fire. Not for no reason, I got dared to take a shot of sriracha, but my mouth's on fire. Yeah, it cooled me down a bit. So this what if Takemichi basically is a teenager. Well, most of his life he lived on his own until when he was like 8. His grandmother kicked him out because he was caused so much trouble. And Takemichi would kind of couch surf, and eventually he got to a dojo. Now the person's like, "Oh yeah, you can stay here if you want, but you're not allowed to participate in classes or anything. All you're allowed to do is clean and eat. That's all you're allowed to do here: clean, eat, and bathe." Which Takemichi's okay with, because other than that, he was treated pretty well. Takemichi sneakily watched classes and then learned how to do some fighting styles from, not fighting styles, some type of techniques from capoeira. That's what the class mainly taught, is capoeira and dance. Capoeira was a martial art, I get that, but capoeira mainly was used in this class as a martial art as well. But also they mainly paid that for extra, gave those techniques to extra members who were willing to pay for something other than dance. So yeah. Takemichi had learned capoeira, and eventually when he was kicked out after around 2 years, so he's like 10 or 11, he eventually ends up kind of saving up a lot of money from just doing odd jobs. And eventually, once he got all the money he needed, he bought a small, trashy apartment with some small furniture. That meaning like a kind of like a fold out couch, like it was on sale, but there's a few stains in it. And Takemichi mainly, by the way, in this one he's 2 years older, so time he's 11, like that'd make like he's not 2 years older, he's like 3 years older, because I want him to be older than Mikey and Draken, so I'd make him like 17 when he's their friend, like 17 or 31, I think. Yeah, like 30, 31. So Takemichi, basically, he's 11. Mikey and Draken would be like 9. But yeah, Takemichi made a friend named Kazutora, but him and Kazutora didn't hang out too much. Kazutora just lived in the same trashy apartment building as him. And Draken had his family, quote unquote, had moved into a nearby apartment above them. Kazutora and Draken didn't really talk. Just Takemichi talked to Draken. Takemichi also talked to Kazutora. Kazutora soon moved out, but yeah. Takemichi was able to make a living off of Draken's quote-unquote family by doing odd jobs for them, finding men to come in there, finding women to come in there, that kind of stuff. Let's pause real quick. So Takemichi being 11 only knew, he did odd jobs for Draken's family to bring men and women into the building to get pleasured. And they'd pay Takemichi a quarter of the profits they made that day. That's how he made money. Eventually, he was able to get better furniture, and with that, he was able to bring people in and get what job do you want me to do? So after that, he just did continuous odd jobs to the point where he learned how to fight through those jobs. He even saw some people use martial arts, which he thought were very cool. And yeah. Eventually, after learning some martial arts, he had learned Aikido, Kyokushin karate, and he had mastered capoeira. But he did all that by the time he was 14. He was 14, and that would mean Mikey and Draken are around 12. And Draken had mentioned Takemichi to Mikey, saying he was the strongest person he has ever met. And Mikey was like, "Oh, really? If he's the strongest person you ever met, does that mean he can beat me?" Draken had held his tongue, but said, "With ease." Mikey had froze, so did Baji. As Baji's like one of the old members. Baji's like, someone that strong exists. That's not an adult. Draken says, he's 2 years older than us, but I can tell you right now, if Mikey were to fight him, Mikey might be a corpse, which isn't inaccurate because Takemichi would murder Mikey effortlessly. Takemichi even learned how to use a knife and a sword. But yeah. Now, Takemichi, when he is around 16. He's around 16, by the way, this is not him in time traveling, it's just him in life, going over that first. When Takemichi is 16, he would be in high school. His high school is attached to middle school, like the same school. They have the same teachers and everything. Takemichi would be going down a flight of stairs as he then sees someone who's quite younger than him beating up a group of gangsters. Person younger than him would be Chifuyu. Takemichi is around 16, so that would mean he's 3 years older than Chifuyu. So Chifuyu's 13, and he would see Baji, who's 14, walk up to Chifuyu, and they begin talking. This time they're friends before. Well, not before. This is after Baji had met Chifuyu in canon. But yeah. Now, eventually, Takemichi does end up introducing himself to Baji and Takemichi. Not Takemichi. When he introduced himself to Baji and Chifuyu, when he introduced himself, he would say his name as Takemichi Hanagaki. Baji had frozen a few years ago. Draken said this guy was the one who could beat Mikey and kill him effortlessly. Takemichi's only speaking to them because he thinks they're cool. Takemichi wears very high-end clothing because he doesn't live in an apartment anymore. Well, he doesn't live in an apartment technically, but he lives in more of like a penthouse because he earned a lot of money to move into one and can have his own secret gang. But it's more like a company to him. But eventually, once he had actually let's say once Baji told Mikey and Draken that he met Takemichi, Draken's like, oh yeah, I had heard some rumors about him that he's probably one of the strongest people in Japan at the moment, which made everyone kind of freeze. Eventually, Mikey would actually go to school with Baji the next day to meet Takemichi. Takemichi was in class, and Takemichi kind of had developed a habit of smoking, which he continued to have as an adult, but when we meet him as an adult, he's trying to break it. But when Mikey walks into class, you would see a lot of kids just doing their work, as Takemichi would sit in the corner smoking. Mikey would walk up to Takemichi asking him to fight, as Takemichi stood up, and Takemichi, or at this point, is around Draken's height, like canon Draken's, like around 6 foot, 6'1". And Takemichi agreed to the fight, saying, alright then, let's go. Walk out to the yard, as everyone's like, some other guy think he's strong to take on Takemichi. Mikey would instantly go for his signature roundhouse kick, which led to him getting a faster roundhouse kick to the throat. Mikey had passed out immediately, and Takemichi had walked off, as Draken went to fight Takemichi, but Takemichi would just put, finger guns, like Takemichi would put a finger gun to Draken's head. Draken's confused, until immediately Takemichi would do kind of like a 1-inch punch in that fashion. And by the time he does it, Draken passed out, and got Baji saying, you want to go too? Baji kind of just ran to Takemichi, not wanting to abandon his friends, which led to him being kicked right in the chest, and being knocked out as well. Now, Mikey, when he woke up, went back, called someone meeting, saying, no one messed with Takemichi Hanagaki. One guy said, oh yeah, he goes to school with him. Mikey's like, good, don't mess with him. Everyone asks why, is Mikey reveals that Takemichi beat up him, Draken, and Baji. So they all kind of froze, and then said, alright, well, don't mess with him. Noted. Now, we're going to go to Takemichi when he is around 29. The next few years, he kind of just spent building his own organization to the point where he even rules over Shibuya. And, let me check this real quick. Alright, so, Takemichi as an adult would rule over the Minato Ward, Shinjuku Ward, Yokohama, what else? Shibuya, and Kanto. This is the main reasons he controls, as he's constantly at war with Tomon. He's fought Manjo Sano more than once, and he has almost killed him, as he has had Mikey to the stomach, but Mikey didn't die. He made sure Mikey didn't die. So, yeah. Eventually, one day, Takemichi would have been walking out of his apartment, and when he does go to the train stop, he's wearing like clothes that make it don't look like he's Takemichi Hanagaki, because everyone knows his face. But he even has cops under his payroll, so they cannot arrest him. Even if they do, he'll get bailed out no matter what. Even judges are too afraid to convict him of being guilty. I was wondering about Hina. Hina was not his girlfriend, but one of his best friends as a teenager. Yes, he did earn a lot of money. He did not change his friendship with anyone. He's still friends with the guys in Mito Middle, and he was still friends with Hina. Well, he's not dating her in this one because at the time he was supposed to be dating her. He's like 17, and she's 14, which I do think is pretty weird. So yeah, so Takemichi would have basically been friends with Hina. As an adult, he did date her for like a year, but his business got too corrupted, got like too corrupted for Hina, and he did suggest that she moves to a different part of his region, but break up with him. She agrees with this, knowing it'd be safer, and he does give her a lot of money for her to settle down. They still are friends, and no other gang operates in his region without his command. Like Mobius was only still around because of him. Black Dragons are only still alive because of Tokyo Manji gang. Like, a lot of gangs are only alive because of Takemichi and Tomon. Now, Takemichi's gang, or his quote-unquote organization, is called Oni. That's what it's called, like, just Oni. So, yeah. But now, Takemichi, when he's at the train stop. He's at the train stop making oblivious that he's Takemichi Onigaki, because he does this sometimes. But as he's just chilling at the train stop, someone would push him onto the tracks. This person knew him as Takemichi Onigaki. They remember Tomon. But also, Takemichi is just not knowing, it is Akun. Still, this person on the tracks, he hears this person mumble the words, "Sorry, Hanagaki." Takemichi looks to the left, seeing a train coming at him, and as he looks at it, he appears on a train. Takemichi, when he's 16, he doesn't have like as big of a reputation, 16 or 17, doesn't have as big of a reputation as like other people, but like, well, he does have a lot of followers, but not like a gang. Like, yes, he can call upon them if he wants to, and that would be him getting the equivalent of a gang, but his main people that stay around him at all times, Mizo Middle. Hina and Naoto occasionally as well, but by the way, Naoto's aged up 1 year. Because Takemichi, someone needs to take his place as the 14-year-old. So, yeah. This one, Takemichi also taught Naoto some martial arts, so Naoto would know Yakido, and he knows Jiu-Jitsu. Takemichi would know Jiu-Jitsu, Yakido, Capoeira, Kyokushin Karate, and Judo. Takemichi at 17 can beat the original Gun in the story. Takemichi always has his hair kind of like slicked back or just down and shaggy. And he has a scar on his eyes, kind of like Gun, like you see. These aren't my thumbnails. I have 50 thumbnails. But yeah, she's a scar on Gun's face. On Gun's face, Takemichi has that same scar. The scars that the Gun all has over his body has the same kind of scars. It's just due to a lot of fights. But yeah, so Takemichi would realize he's in the past, and he's able to deduct he's in the past very fast. So Takemichi would acknowledge this, and he's not too happy with it, but he knows. So, eventually deducts everything he needed to while he's in the past, like what he did in my grade Yeon would. If he's able to deduct this, but not at the same time. He deducts this in a matter of around, like, let's say, he does this. Well, he's able to do it in around 1 day. And he's 2 months before the whole Kimasa event. And not everyone knows who Takemichi is, because he's mainly known as Shiro Oni, because the main clothes he wears is either a white suit or suit with lots of white on it. So he's known as like the white ghost, the white ogre, the white demon. He's known as a lot of that. So yeah, plus he's a pretty pale guy. But yeah. Now, Takemichi would realize what's happening, and he was thinking that, Hina was killed by Tama members, was Naoto, which he's very pissed off about. So he's deciding what to do while he's in the past. He doesn't know if it's permanent or if it happens for a short amount of time. But he thinks he should either take over, he should destroy Tomon or kill every single member. Takemichi would go with optimism and think he's in the past permanently. That's what he would prefer. So he would decide to take over Tomon himself or do something to change it. And with that, Michi would stay in the past for 2 months, training up Mizo Middle, Hina, and Naoto to be fighters. Now with this, Akun, Hamagishi, Yamamoto, and Suzuki, they all have the average strength of Chifuyu, and Akun being the strongest, his strength would be around Mitsuya. So, not too weak, but not too strong. Let's say he's able to he'd be able to fight Taiju, but he wouldn't win. So yeah, almost anyone could be able to, but they'd be knocked out in 1 or 2 hits though. Takemichi, if he were to fight Taiju, it would end in 1 blow. Takemichi would win pretty easily. Now, Takemichi, during these 2 months, from the time the whole Kimasa event would happen, Takemichi would just be hanging out with Akun and the rest of Mizo Middle. And while they're hanging out, this leads to Kiyomasa arriving and wanting to fight. Now Kiyomasa wanted to start the fight with them, so they were waiting at their school. When Kiyomasa arrived, he started to fight Takemichi first and goes to hit him in the face with the bat. Takemichi just blocked the bat with one hand, and the bat almost shatters on impact. As Takemichi says, "Huh? You chose to attack me first? Dude, I'm the king, basically. You forgot about my guards." As Kiyomasa says, "I got my own guards." Takemichi says, "Suzuki, you do it." And then Yamamoto says, "Let me do this. It's going to be too easy." And Yamamoto would proceed to drop basically every single member of Kiyomasa's group himself. While Kiyomasa is in shock and would proceed to try to back away. Well, this leads to basically Yamamoto grabbing him by his hair and letting Yamagishi beat the living hell out of him. Michi had laughed at this and says, "Alright, well, I'm going to go pay a visit to Hina." So he goes to visit Hina, hang out for a bit, have a date. And not like a date, for Takemichi felt like a date because he had grown a crush on Hina. It was just he knew he can't date because he knew her parents would be a little weirded out by their age gap. So, yeah. Well, for him it kind of felt like a date, but he knew it wasn't. But, yeah. Now, eventually by the time he brings Hina back home, him and Naoto talk for a bit, and Takemichi walks away. Shakes hands with Naoto before he leaves. It's kind of formal, like, thank you for letting me take your sister out and not telling your parents. So it's like Takemichi walking away, and eventually you get halfway down the street, until he suddenly would appear in the future. He then froze once he realized he was in the future and says, "God damn it." Because he didn't get to change Tomon. He didn't get to. Well, kind of did. He does see Naoto, and they have the same conversation they need to in canon, but Takemichi's like, "Alright, I already deducted this stuff. Now can I go back to the past, please, in some way?" Naoto and Takemichi continue talking, and he even brings up, a lot of this stuff that occurred while you were in the past and changed it. It's pretty weird. He brings up the whole thing with Mobius. They still lost to Tomon, and Draken still died. But then Mobius proceeded to be taken over by Takemichi's group. Now in the future, he had absorbed Mobius, and yeah, they're an even bigger gang. And eventually, a lot more stuff happens. But eventually, Takemichi would talk about how they need to do these things. And he's still, first he goes over how Draken died. Takemichi knew Draken died in the original time. He knew Baji died, he knew Kazutora died. He knew about all the deaths, because a lot of things don't go on without him knowing. So, yeah. So he goes over all this stuff, and then ends up deciding that they should talk to Osanai. Osanai, still being a delinquent at heart, would meet Takemichi and immediately know who he is and bow down. As he bows down, Takemichi would ask about the information on the day Draken died, and he goes over it. Takemichi's like, "Alright, cool, we can go back to work." Or how about this? And then he gives Osanai a lot of money. Osanai's able to live in retirement at around 30-something years old. And then Takemichi then goes to meet Akun, as he thinks that's the best choice, but also able to figure out Akun's the one that pushed him onto the tracks. But doesn't feel bad, because he realizes that Akun does it all for Tomon. Because Mikey ended up beating the hell out of Akun one day, and, across this, if I beat you, you join Tomon. If you lose, if I win, you join Tomon. If I lose, then I'll join Tomon into your gang. Akun lost, and Akun joined Tomon, so the rest of me is in the middle. But Takemichi knew about this. He didn't disagree with that. So yeah, he heard about that thing, and when Akun talk, Akun still does kill himself. But Takemichi said before that happens, he walks away saying, don't kill yourself in front of somebody. It's rude. So Akun chuckles, saying, "As cold-hearted as usual." But you can already tell that Takemichi's beginning to cry. This all happened in the middle of the day. This happened. Takemichi came back at 1 p.m. Akun, he had the meeting with Osanai at 3 p.m. Then Akun kills himself at 7 p.m. This all happened in the middle of the day, in the span of a few hours. But yeah, Takemichi basically spent 6 hours in the future. When it's all settled, Takemichi already knows what he needs to do, and he knows everything he needs to do all the way up until when region around I'd say. Well, around the time he meet future Hina, he knows what to do until then. So, yeah. Or until the beginning of the Valhalla arc. He knows what to do until the beginning of that. Takemichi goes back to the past by shaking hands with Naoto, and he has Naoto and him in his apartment for days. Takemichi was able to make Naoto doesn't work in anyone's territory. He works in one of the only neutral territories. So Takemichi was able to the police station, try to arrest me. You're gonna be outnumbered. But I will say that Naoto's on Naoto's going to be taking retirement for a bit. Me and him need to talk. So they're like, all right, cool. We can give Naoto this much time off of a break. So Takemichi's like, all right, cool. Get 1 month. Takemichi left the past, and when he comes back, he left at let's say 1 a.m. So he comes back. Well, he left at 1 a.m. Came back at 1 p.m. in the future. Then he left at 7 p.m. in the future and came back at 7 a.m. So yeah. So as he wakes up, he would get up and go to the gym, and he would end up pulling out a sword and knife. Buys them, and then pulls them out of their sheath and begins practicing to use them. He has the same skill, and Takemichi would more or less just gather all of Mizo Middle and Hina and Naoto, and he'll decide that they're going to basically remake the gangs in Japan. And Takemichi basically just tell his group of delinquents that follow him is that, I'm not delinquent anymore. I'm trying to live a normal life. So basically, no one from a famous gang was his follower. But now that's just Takemichi is trying to start over from the beginning, because those guys gave him money, a lot of it, so he's able to live in a penthouse. But now he started over. He still pay rent for a while, but yeah. Now Takemichi. So Takemichi would end up basically just telling him about his plan to reorganize Tomon, and that at the next meeting he plans to basically destroy them, or at least take over them. Takemichi asks Yamagishi to keep an ear out for rumors, which he will do. When he does, he's able to Takemichi around the time they're at the next meeting. He's able to tell them, they're having a small meeting here at this time tomorrow. So Takemichi during that time would arrive, and when he arrives, Baji, Draki, and Mikey immediately recognized him and shook. Even Mitsuya recognized him. Mitsuya immediately bows, saying, "Hello, senpai," as that's how you address someone older than you or more skillful than you. So with that, Takemichi then says, "Mitsuya, you remember Tomoan? I forgot." Inside Baji and Draki and Mikey saying, "And I beat the hell out of you two. I beat the hell out of you two a year or so ago, right?" They nod slowly. Takemichi then says, "Well, I have a condition, or not condition, a demand. Hand Tomoan over to me." They freeze and say, "Didn't you announce you're not delinquent anymore?" Takemichi then says, "Nope, that's just my excuse to start over. Now hand over Tomoan, or there will be very bad consequences." Suddenly the whole first division went to Takemichi, except for Baji, as he's too scared to fight Takemichi. All of this leads to basically Akun, Suzuki, and Yamagishi defeating most of the first division, even Shifuyu. Well, Akun effortlessly takes down Shifuyu, and they're shocked to see that those 4 guards, Takemichi, those 3 guards, Takemichi are able to handle them. And at this point, it's like a Tuesday, and it's 5 p.m. So Hina's with them as well, by the way, so is Naoto. Now, Naoto's a little bit stronger than even Akun and Mitsuya, but he still can't take down anyone like Taiju or Peion. But, yeah. Takemichi's a strongest character we've known in the series. Period. So more members of Tomon rush at Takemichi, but this leads to Naoto taking a lot of them down himself, until it comes to, Smiley, Angry, Mitsuya, Pachin, Peion, and Hakai, Mucho, Sanzu, Baji. Those guys came up on Naoto and able to take him down, but Smiley and Angry both have broken noses, and Peion has a very badly bruised face, and with Pachin, while Baji is perfectly fine. Then Takemichi looks at the rest of Mizo Middle and Naoto. Naoto's not knocked out, but he's pretty badly beaten. Takemichi picks him up, saying, "Naoto, you can stay the night at my house. Just so you hide your bruises from your parents." Looks at Mizo Middle, saying, "Kill him." They all run towards a group of the captain, vice captains, as Hakai is taken down. They're getting, Yamagishi and Momoto are able to take down Hakai by ganging up on him. Takemichi laughs, basically looking at Mitsuya, and, not Mitsuya, looking at Suzuki and Akun, because they're the strongest of the group, of Mizo Middle, besides Takemichi. He says that they are the strongest duo he has. So, try to do anything. Well, not strongest. So he's one of their best duos, because he has a few duos. He has Hina and Naoto. He has Akun and Suzuki, and Yamagishi and Yamamoto. Yamagishi and Yamamoto are the weakest duo, but they're the most tricky. While Akun and Suzuki, they specialize in brute force and holds. Well, we have Hina and Naoto they go all around and all above. They're all really strong. But what Hina is she's about as strong as Akun, maybe a little weaker, but yeah. But Aku's able to recover pretty fast, and Aku and Suzuki are able to take down a lot of the captains. Mucho's the one they can't take down because he's too big for them. That's really it. So as soon as they try to do like a hold on him, Mucho's able to use judo and throw Suzuki into the ground and stomp on his chest. And as soon as he comes fighting Akun, he's able to drop Akun. But then Hina and Naoto rush right at Mucho, and they're able to take him down pretty fast. As Hina kind of puts him like a chokehold, but as soon as he's ready to break out, Hina would move her arms, and Naoto would knee him. Pause real quick. Alright, so Takemichi would watch as, well, first Naoto would put Mucho in a chokehold, and Mucho was almost able to break free, but suddenly Naoto would move his arms before Mucho breaks out, and Hina would knee Mucho right in the throat, making him sit up blood, and fall to the ground, and not being able to get in the correct amount of air. With this, we would have basically Mucho down. Mitsuyo was handled by Akun, let's say that. Smiling and Angry are going to be handled by Hina and Naoto. So Hina and Naoto handle Mucho and Sanzu. Let's say Hina just beats Sanzu. And then we have Smiling and Angry handled by Hina and Naoto. So we have those two duos handled by this one duo. And then we have Mitsuya handled by Akun, then Pachi and Peion. And Peion was hardest to take down because he was one of the stronger ones. But eventually they're all taken down, and that leads to every captain and vice captain being down. With that, Takemichi then says, "Alright then, now that your captains and vice captains are down, I demand I get handed over Tomon." Maki runs to Takemichi, and Draken follows suit. Like, we're stronger now, you guys cannot beat us. So they run in, trying to punch Takemichi right in the face. It's like that's what Draken tries to do. And as they try it, Takemichi's able to dodge very easily. And then he kicks Draken right in the ankle, making Draken fall to the ground due to him not having a correct correct balance during that punch. But Draken will fall to the ground, so Takemichi then elbow drops him right in the ribs. And Draken just kind of holds his ribs like in pain. And then Mikey go for a roundhouse kick, but Takemichi just chops his leg at full force. And Mikey then has his muscles tense up pretty badly and begin bruising and cramping. Mikey falls to the ground holding his leg this is a horrible cramp. Takemichi then just kicks Mikey back the head, saying, "Alright then, I win." Mikey's on the ground unconscious, almost foaming at the mouth. Now Tomon's in shock as their strongest were defeated by a group of Takemichi, Suzuki, Yamamoto, Himegishi, Akun, Hina, and Naoto. So 5 captains plus 5 vice captains, 10 people plus 2 more Mikey and Draken. That's 12 people that got handled by 7. And one of them handled the 2 strongest that could have beaten everyone else. So yeah, they win. Takemichi with this would then say that, he is the owner of Tomon now. But this leads to all of Tomon trying to run and beat Takemichi. But we're fast forward around 10 minutes. Takemichi sitting on top of a pile of Tomon members, and it's official, he is a new leader. Takemichi would have laughed, saying, "Oh no, don't tell me this is all Tomon's got. This is a shame. This is awful." Now, Takemichi gets off the pile of Tomon members and then says, I'll wait for y'all to wake up." He's able to take all the ones that have phones, able to take their phones, and is able to basically, they're staying at my house tonight, 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 they're staying at my house tonight. Making an excuse for them all to be at a friend's house. When parents are strict, Takemichi's able to yell at them, and the parent backs off immediately. So, yeah, Takemichi has all that handled. Once it's all handled, they all wake up after around an hour, and Takemichi says, don't worry, your parents' situation's handled." And they all freeze, realizing this guy could beat them all up, unconscious. Made sure their parents weren't mad at them for being out late. So they're all a little amazed. But Takemichi looks at Mikey, saying, "But your grandpa and sister didn't buy it, so I'm in trouble." But then again, I don't want to beat up old men and a woman. So he says, "Shut up! You'd beat up both of them if they came at you first." Takemichi just sighed, saying, "Let me be cool for a moment." But that was true. If a woman came at him first, no matter what age they were, he'd hit them first. He'd hit an old person, no matter what. Even if they came at him first, he'd hit them. If they tried to start a fight, he'd hit them first. Doesn't matter. If there's any sense of a fight coming, he's going to hit first. Or, if he's hit first, then he'll continue on with the onslaught of brutality. Takemichi would look at the rest of Tomon and talk to Mikey, saying, "He's not planning to drive Tomon on the ground. He actually shares the same admiration and goal for delinquents as Mikey." As he then says the goal he wants for delinquents, and when he says this, Mikey's actually pretty happy and amazed with this. And Takemichi says, "Well, I can tell that me and you have the same goal for delinquents, so I request you hand over Tomon to me." Mikey and Takemichi shake hands, and pause one more time, sorry. So Takemichi, he would then say that, as leader, he has his own guard group. This one looks at the Miso middle, but now including Hina and Naoto. He then says they are now known as Oni no Hina, which is basically the brood of the ogres. I'm using brood as the group of like young animals or young children / young kids. So yeah, this Oni no Hina. And he then says that, as he's leader Tomon, and he has a lot of money, he does need a little bit more. As he then throws just pulls out his backpack bowl and throws it to the middle of where all the Tomon members are, saying they need to contribute at least $10 each, which they all are able to contribute. Once they're all done, that's what that money's for. And he says this money is going to go along with his, and they get mad at first until he says, "I'm going to buy us a hideout." They all froze, and the guy Mikey why don't you ever do that for us? We had to use your grandpa's house as a hideout, and he hated most of us. Mikey then froze, realizing Takemichi is already doing things that they like. So he passes out a piece of paper, alright, all of you write down what you want. And he prepped pencils, paper, the backpack they thought was full of weapons. No, it's full of writing material, objects, just fun stuff in general, I'd say. So once it's all written down, it's ideas that they want for the hideout, make it reasonable. Once it's all made, Takemichi would then go for a perfect building that he's able to buy for cheap, and he knows he's going to be able to clean. And they told him, the hideout he has plans on buying is big, but super dirty and run down, so they have to build it up with them. He agreed to this, and he's able to buy it. Once he buys it, they're all happy to hang out there, and eventually, when fast forward, around 1 week. After this week, Takemichi hired people to help clean it up, and once it's fully cleaned up, Takemichi then says, "Alright, well, this place is cleaned up, there's windows now, they're tinted, of course." Even bought one car from Mucho that's actually pretty big. Well, it's not like a car, it's more like a truck. But he bought it, and because he ruled over a certain part that had a car dealership in it, he was able to buy it. It wasn't a big area of people, or not a big area of... It wasn't a big area of a city. It was like a small town, that's the best way to say. He's able to have a car dealership there, and a small group of police. That's really it, but still a lot of power to have behind him. So Takemichi's able to buy a few cars for his first group of Tomon, and don't expect the building there to be fixed up, even though it was really big. It was very run down, to the point where no one wanted to sell it. But it was sold for cheaper price than regular warehouses that are smaller, and in good condition. So yeah. But Takemichi was just, he's able to buy 2 trucks for it. He's pretty cool. Now, eventually, Takemichi then looked at Mitsuya, saying he hired a few people to help him learn how to sew professionally, which he hired one fashion designer. One. That was all the money he had, plus some people at Passion and Tomon. All the money he had. So, the fashion designers able to help Mitsuya, and even gives Takemichi a refund, because he enjoyed helping with Mitsuya, even the club members. So, by the time they're done, after 4 or 5 days, Mitsuya's "Alright, cool, thank you, Takemichi," and bows to him. Mitsuya even learn how to fast produce clothing. Excuse me real quick, I'm pause one more time. This is the jacket Takemichi has them all wear, plus Mitsuya had sewed in the design for it. Takemichi had done some research on Mikey previously. He was able to find connections to Izuna. He knew about Izuna. He knew about the rest of the S62 generation. And then he's able to find out about Shinichiro Sano ruling over the Black Dragons. He's also able to find out about, kind of dug into the past of every single captain of Black Dragons and the vice captains. He's aware of Taiju being the leader of Black Dragons and supposedly aware of the abuse Hakai endured, because Hakai has on record to have come to school with bruises. And then he's aware of Izuna, Shinichiro, those 2 being Black Dragon captains. And he's also aware of Shinichiro's death at the hands of Kazutora, and he knows the time Kazutora gets out of juvie. He knows about Baji. He basically knows everything that would be kind of shocking to the series. So yeah, and the jackets that they mainly wear, this design, and the arm design's the same as well. But in the design, you would see the symbol for the Black Dragons. You'd also see the symbol for Tokyo Manji Gang. Well, Takemichi then says that, like he would actually, pause like this. Not pause, but he would actually find Mikey, Draken, like all the vice captains and captains of Tomon, and say that let's just seal the deal that they're official members of Tomon. He pulls out a tattoo needle saying, hold your hand out. They nod. Takemichi would then like on like their wrist, very it's kind of small, but not as small at the same time. He would carve in basically not carve in, but he would basically tattoo. He would like Tokyo Manji Gang tattoos in the kanji for that, and they have all tattoos of that. Draken and Mikey weren't too mad about it, so they're cool with it. And after all this is done, Takemichi would then just bring up everything he found out. Izuna, Shinichiro, S62 generation, everything. So I brought up, he then looks at Mucho, saying, now you are one of the main suspects of, probably betraying Tomon. No one's happy about hearing this, but he then brings up that, Izuna, Mikey's supposed brother, is also a member of the S62 generation, and likely Mucho is more loyal to Izuna than Mikey. They're all kind of frozen at Mucho, even Sanzu. Well, Sanzu pretended to be upset with Mucho. But eventually, Mucho swears loyalty to Tomon, and he was jumped back into Tomon. Because first he was kicked out, then jumped back in immediately. But now, instead of doing their thing with Mobius, Takemichi will decide to just take over the Black Dragons first, saying that's where their focus should be. So he then says, alright, well, our outfits are set. Takemichi, his outfit is more or less just a black suit with a white tie. And his shoes are mainly just like high tops, like these are newly made Jordan high tops. Like those are shoes he wears. And Hina's given the button-up shirt and the blazer of a suit, but then given a pretty long skirt and just leggings under those. So Hina's okay with it. That's kind of what she requested. Now it's just given basic tracksuit with the Takemichi gang on it, embedded in it. And then same with Yamamoto and Yamagishi. Yuzuki wanted a suit. Akun just wanted Mikey's jacket that we have the original, before Kanto and before Boten. Wanted that kind of jacket. So he has that. So yeah, the first thing they want to do is conquer the Black Dragons, which Hakai is able to tell me, Taiju should be here. Taiju's really strong. You sure can take him. But then again, Hakai thought back, never mind, you can take him pretty easily. So eventually Tomon would march right into Black Dragon territory. Well, not march, they drive to the territory. We got to the cars. They're all kind of nervous because it's not everyone, but it's the captains and vice captains. We got to the cars. Taiju's oh, what the hell are you guys doing here? You guys ready for a fight? Takemichi says, Mikey, say what I told you to say. That's going to be stretching, ready for a fight. Mikey then says, my dragons were made by my older brother, and I demand my gang handed to me. They all froze, realizing Mikey should be their leader. All of my dragons realized that. Even Coco did not know this, but Inupi did. Inupi then says, damn it, the fact I'd hide that. Kaijun says, Inupi, why the hell didn't anyone else know? I thought they all knew this. Inupi then says, with their reaction, they would have been Tomon members if I told them. Taiju then says, alright then. Well, how about this? After we beat Tomon, you also have to admit I'm a better leader than Shinichiro. Shinichiro says, after we beat the hell out of you, we're going to go visit an ex-vice captain of the first generation. Mikey then says, well, not Mikey, Inupi then says, you're going to visit Akashi? Excuse me, quick. Go. Okay, I'm back. So, Takemichi plans on visiting Akashi, Sanzu, and Arashi, and Wakasa. Because Wakasa's last name I forgot. So, Wakasa is one of the other members of Brahmin. Takemichi plans on visiting them as they're all a little amazed. So, yeah. But now, as they're ready for this, Takemichi would then just say, alright, Hakai, do you want to handle Taiju? Or should I have my duo handle him? In reality, he thinks that, Hina and Naoto can't beat Taiju, but it'd be a good fight. And Hakai then says, that he wants to try to handle Taiju himself, as during the time that they weren't, they were just had it ready. Takemichi had prepped the captains for any kind of combat they didn't ensue. So Hakai's a little bit stronger, not as strong as Taiju, but still pretty strong. So they run up ready for a fight, or Hakai runs up to Taiju ready to fight, and him and Taiju begin fighting. Physically, Taiju is stronger, but Hakai is able to put Taiju in an arm breaker and does break Hakai's arm. No, Hakai puts Taiju in a pretty good arm breaker and then breaks Taiju's arm. Taiju's still able to beat the living hell out of Hakai, but Taiju's on the ground panting and tired. Takemichi walks up to Taiju, saying, "Alright, well, you're basically worn down, so you're useless." And stomps on Taiju's head full force, saying, "Tomon, kill him." That leads to basically captain vice captains besides Hakai running in and defeating Black Dragons themselves. The time they're done, Takemichi says, "Alright, give me your jackets." All members of Black Dragons take their jackets, and Mitsuya then just says, "We were able to mass produce a lot of the jackets we have now, so should I give them to them?" Takemichi says, "No, just drag them all to the hideout, or sneakily get them to the hideout as best you can." But they're able to give a better plan since they're they're right outside the house of Taiju. They will drag him inside. Yuzawa sees the Black Dragons being dragged in unconscious by Tomon and by Takemichi. By the time Taiju wakes up, he's taught to share with a big bruise on his nose. But Takemichi basically will give him an ultimatum. He dies here, or joins Tomon. Which, he reluctantly will join Tomon, not wanting to die. And he's able to, if the guy's able to break his arm and beat him almost unconscious, he doesn't want to know what the leader of Tomon can do to him. The new leader at that. So, yeah. So Black Dragons eventually put themselves in Tomon. Inupi and Coco are like, what value can you give us? Because Coco's after money. Inupi is just following along with whatever he thinks is right. Michi looks at Coco, saying, "I dug into you specifically after I found out about the Black Dragons. You're after money, aren't you?" And Coco's like, "Guess so. Why?" Michi brings up that in the small area, small town they're in, they're pretty well liked, and they do get a good amount of money, like Black Dragons. Because they're able to take over the Black Dragon territory. They get more money, but we're gonna make them like us first. They give us a little more money, or we're able to get money from them faster. Coco likes this idea and agrees. So, one fast forward another week, and Mobius had heard of what's going on, so did Kisaki. At this point, they rule over a decent part of their area, it's basically a city. And Takemichi still the figurehead of it. Eventually, he's able to buy another building that's near him, and yeah. Someone moves into that, and by the time they're moving into it, Takemichi is just pretty chilled out. And now Mobius still has Kisaki and Hanma, but now, in one day, we have Kazutora being released from juvenile detention, which Takemichi had told Mikey and Baji, which Baji asked if they can go pick him up. So they go do that. So when Kazutora is released, he sees a car outside waiting for them. The driver's seat window rolls down, and he's Baji next to Mikey. The sword reluctantly gets in, saying, "Now, who's this guy next to me?" As he looks at Takemichi. Mikey then says, "Meet the new leader, Tomon." Katsura then froze, realizing this guy beat the hell out of Mikey. Katsura goes to punch Takemichi, but the moment the punch lands, Takemichi's not phased and just headbutts him as hard as he can. So, yeah. And Takemichi would then begin telling what he's doing to Tomon, to Katsura. Katsura realizes that, the Tomon that he would like is forming immediately. So, he gratefully joins. And Izuna, so Mobius, Tenjiku, Valhalla, all those gangs form, just minus Kazutora being involved at all. So, all the rival gangs besides, Brahmin, besides basically just Brahmin, Brahmin, Kanto Manji Gang, Bone Ten, so Brahmin, Kanto Manji Gang, Bone Ten, and Black Dragons. Those gangs are now infused in Tomon. Because Takemichi, after he picked up Kazutora, had gotten to meet Akashi, Arashi, and Wakasa. Once he meets them, they're able to like Takemichi off the bat, because he reminds them of a cooler Shinichiro. So they actually agree to join Tomon, and Takemichi is grateful to have this. And he eventually does get Sanzu to join, and Sanzu does develop a slight crush on Takemichi. So, yeah. Now they're back to one of the Tomon hideouts. And Takemichi mainly stays in the warehouse because there's a secret room he has there where, not a secret room, but it's kind of secret, hidden office. Goes in there and we'll talk to Akashi and all them. And eventually we're going to go over to the order the gang is established in. Mikey and Draken would be the attack unit. And then we have, Mikey and Draken are the leaders of the first division and it's called the attack unit. Vice captain being Draken, captain being Mikey. And then in this division we would have Chifuyu the miscellaneous member. He's okay with this. He knows that Baji Kasura had a strong friendship before him, which he's okay with. So there you have that group. The second division would be headed up by Baji being the captain, and vice captain being Kazutora. We have more members. We have third division that's headed up by Mitsuya, and Mitsuya, his vice captain, still being Hakai. But Hakai actually being stronger than Mitsuya. So they have that regular division set out. And then we have, well, actually under like Hakai and Mitsuya, we have Taiju. So, yeah. Second division and first division, those are the attack units. The third division, that's where they start getting into like the more supportive units. So you have the support where it's like I would say they offer like if one division is being taken out or it's being beaten down too hard, the third division would step in with their raw power and begin taking them down. Most of the Black Dragons have settled into the third division. So yeah. Fourth division would be Smiley, E and Angry. That's Smiley and Angry actually. It would be Pachin and Payon. Sorry to mess that up. In that division we have Coco. The fourth division would be more like they were able to. They control the funds and just the output and input of things going into Tokyo Manji Gang. Like they control the there's not many weapons. Like they have like batons. And that's really it. Like batons, knights baton / nightsticks, staff, that kind of stuff. And then like a few of them have like stuff like box cutters, and that's really it. The most deadly weapons were the captains were like knives. And that's really it. So yeah. The fifth division, that would be like Smiley and Angry. And under them, they have Mucho and Sandu. They've also, Mucho and Sandu had their trust lost. But Sandu has quickly moved divisions, so Mucho is the one in that division. And then we have more Black Dragons in that division. And now, sixth division, we have that division headed up by Akashi and Arashi. So Akashi and Arashi are in that division with Wakasa under them. And Sandu also under them, plus Sandu. And more Black Dragons coming in, plus more Tomon. In 7th division, it's kind of Takemichi's whole thing, that's his division, if you want to count him and the Oni no Hina. So, yeah. Those are the divisions. Now, pause real quick. So I use this time correctly, I would say that a bit has changed, so I'd say, the time where Mikey had beaten up Osanai? The time where Takemichi had tried to take over Tomon all the way up until now has been around a week and a half. And around this time, they already have, if they were using the original timeline, this would be the time where Mikey had beaten up Osanai. So yeah, so we have a lot of time left to spare. This time we go to Kasaki, who's gathering up Mochi, Ron, and Rindo Aitani. So Mochi, Ron, and Rindo Aitani, Kakucho, Izuna, Hanma, Osanai, who else? Madarame. They're thinking of getting Mucho on Izuna's request. Who else should I try to get? Basically everyone except for Kazutora from the main villains. Basically all of Valhalla, all of Shinjuku, that gang is formed. And this gang is still going to be called not Valhalla. They're known as Kanto Manji Gang. Let's say that. Pause one more time, sorry. So Kasaki would name his gang, Kanto Manji Gang. And with that, we have the formation of it. And Rokuhara Tandai wouldn't realize that this uprising of gangs is big. One gang is absorbing multiple gangs, and one gang is able to unite multiple, or just multiple bad apples in a sense. So with this, we would also have, we have Rokuhara Tandai coming out of hiding. And, Brahmin is already part of Tomon. That's really it now. But we're going to go to the night of the festival. During this time, Takemichi would more or less, just enjoy it. While Kasaki's gang is in the middle of forming. Kasaki's plan is mainly to basically take down Tomon from the inside. As a few members do join, saying that, they're part of this gang, they don't like it anymore, they're going to join this gang. And Kasaki able to infuse minor gangs only full of adults. He's able to get those gangs as well, because these gangs are able to get guns and stuff like that. So yeah. So these gangs are formed and absorbed, And now, the festival, Tomon's able to hang out together as kind of like a family, in a sense. Once they're formed, it's very fun to them. Now, Takemichi, a month has passed, now no fighting has happened. This is all up to the Valhalla arc, nothing is going to happen. But we're going to pause here, actually. Just pause. And, yeah. So, with this, Takemichi would go back to the future. He goes to the future, he would see a lot of businesses are already under control of Tomon. They even have flags outside representing Tomon. Takemichi is no longer an admin, as he had to fight with Tomon, doesn't know, but basically, the only people that stayed by his side are, like, the Oni no Hina. They stayed by his side the whole time. So as they stayed by his side, Takemichi would say, like, he had a dream. That's kind of weird. But it made him think of like the days when he's a member of Tomon. Like, all he's able to know is he's not a member of Tomon anymore. So guess what happened? He wants them to recount it. What happened was Tomon got a little too corrupted from the inside, and that led to a big fight between Takemichi and the captain's vice captains. Even they got corrupted. So they do a fight, and Takemichi was able to take them all down by himself, but he left Tomon to them, saying he hopes they change one day. The only person that did truly change was Kazutora and Draken. Draken had abandoned Mikey and actually beat Mikey in a fight, but the only reason Mikey only lost is because Draken fought a lot trickier. So Takemichi would like them to fight trickier because their fighting styles would be stronger if they were to be tricky. So, yeah. And then Kazutora mainly changed because he thought that what they were doing was actually truly wrong because Tomon became a woman-beating and innocent person-killing organization. So, yeah, only those two changed. And Takemichi would go reunite with Naoto. Esme and Naoto began talking. Hina is alive, and Takemichi would proceed to go to have that awkward thing with Hina. And even, like, they started dating that day again, because Takemichi had asked Hina, not again, but they started dating. Because he had asked Hina, can they go on a date? Hina agreed, as Naoto's like, for a gangster, you're really cringy. As Naoto is still a cop. But no one really knows his full reputation as a gang member. They only know him as part of a group called Oni no Hina, and that group was really strong. That gang, it was just these few people really strong, and they entered Tomon. But they only had Naoto join them because they allowed him to join them because he's really strong. So yeah. But the day that Naoto reunites Takemichi and Hina, it's pretty awkward. Takemichi and Hina were talking for a bit. Takemichi asks Hina on a date. Takemichi calls Naoto Takemichi a cringy gangster. And eventually, when Takemichi would go drive Hina to this place, he starts to use the bathroom. He goes into the bathroom, he's washing his hands, using the bathroom, all that. He uses the bathroom, wash his hands. Suddenly, a tall figure would walk in, being a little bit taller than him. This being South Torano, the leader of Rokuhara Tandai, that had now been put in the Tokyo Manchi gang. Only gangs left that are outside of Tomon would be Black Dragons and Bone Ten. Bone Ten's headed up by Draken, and Bone Ten's headed up by Draken, and we have the Black Dragons headed up by Kazutora. Now, Black Dragons and Bone Ten are a pretty cool organization, but yeah, they're not at war with each other. They're just like, if we see each other on the street and one of you starts trouble, fight will occur. But Kazutora and Draken are still pretty good friends to this day. They're drinking buddies in secret. Yeah, so Takemichi would basically end up just go on a date with Hina, sees the guy in the bathroom that's taller than him, that being South Torano. Torano will go for a punch against Takemichi, realizing he's not in the car, and wants to kill him in the bathroom. But the moment he goes for a punch, his arm is grabbed, and almost snapped clean off. Like, Takemichi hits his elbow full force, and the bone pops out of his arm. The bone comes out, Takemichi just grabs Torano's neck, and just slams him, pulls him with the air, and slams him right on the ground. And he is beating Torano to death in the bathroom, realizing Torano planned to kill him and Hina. And he thought that Torano was the only person there. So by the time he's done, he runs outside, checking on Hina, and Torano's not dead, it's just he's in the corner in the bathroom spitting up blood. He runs out, he sees a truck, like a semi-truck, crash right into the car Hina was in. Another time it crashes, Takemichi begins crying a bit, and he had realized Hina is gone, permanently, as the semi-truck basically crushed Hina in the car. So Takemichi says, so first off, you pissed me off by killing my girlfriend. Then pissed me off by trying to kill me. And now you destroy $100 million, well, not $100 million, but $1 million car. I'm gonna kill you. He reaches into the window, and the person he grabbed, he immediately realized was Akun, because he ran into the jacket material that he had grabbed. pulls Akun right out of the window, throwing it into the street, saying, "Now what the hell are you doing?" Walks towards Akun as Akun says, "Takemichi, you have to understand, I didn't have a choice." Takemichi picked up Akun and began beating him to death. Takemichi's just pissed off and enraged and sad. That's really it. And eventually, by the time he killed Akun even claimed through grunts and just slight words. Takemichi understood everything that happened, but still killed Akun. He's just weak and crying, falling on the ground, and just screaming and crying. Eventually, when Naoto arrived, he realized that Akun was dead with fist imprints on his face. Went to the bathroom to find South unconscious, spitting up blood with fist imprints on his face and chest. And he saw the car that was crushed was obviously Takemichi's because of how expensive the paint was and everything. And he then recognized not recognized the semi-truck. He just saw the semi-truck crash into it. And he asked where Hino was, until he put together that Hino was in the car. Naoto and Takemichi hugged for a bit, just crying. And eventually Hino's funeral was planned by Takemichi and Naoto. He paid for it even. And Hino's mother and father are grateful Takemichi paid for it, but it's sad that, Hina's gone. So, yeah. Now, eventually, everything kind of goes the same, all the way up to still, Draken being on, Draken is on death row, but he was recently arrested. Takemichi, basically Draken heard about Hina's death and Takemichi being there, so he knows that Tomon has something to do with it, probably on orders of Kisaki, as he's the current leader. Andre Asano went into hiding, realizing this organization is not what he wants it to be after he got beat up by Draken. But Draken was recently arrested that he started a war with Tomon and his gang, and he had basically beaten up every captain except for Baji, as Baji didn't have the guts to fight him. He beat up every captain. He was finally angry, who didn't even want to be a part of Bonten, or not Bonten. They didn't want to be part of Tomon anymore. It's just, no captain did. It was just, they were up in so deep, their families were even being threatened. So they had no choice but to stay or die. But, so Takemichi would go and see, he goes to see Draken, who's in prison, and Draken and Takemichi would talk about Valhalla, everything. That's what the day went wrong. Takemichi is a little upset because they're being shorted from the inside too fast, and he knows it was from the inside. He even tells Draken this, and Draken's like, "Yeah, I put that together myself. I'm sad we didn't notice." Takemichi then says he's going to do anything he can to destroy Tomon and every gang in Japan now. Draken says it's a pretty drastic change for someone who wanted to be the kingpin of Japan. Takemichi says, "Just because I destroy every gang doesn't mean I'm not going to be the ruler of Japan." Then walks away as he has a plan. Destroy every gang, put them in some form of government, and he's going to be the leader. That's his goal. So he goes and is able to find Naoto. Naoto had left, just going to be by himself for a bit. Michi finds Naoto in his apartment, actually. So it's him and Naoto talking. Michi and Naoto shake hands, and Takemichi will go back to the past. It's been 3 days, so yeah. Goes back to the past, and I'll pause real quick. So basically, Takemichi had gone back to the past for 3 days, and Tomon is now established as one of the better gangs. But Takemichi had actually tried to reduce their their group was more sophisticated than basic gangs. So he mainly took this just left their basic regions, but offered protection still. Well, and some of it was taken, some of it wasn't. But they moved to a higher class district or higher class areas where they got paid more money, and they ended up getting better hideouts. And yeah, now more people ended up joining Tomon, random people, and same with other gangs. So yeah. Now Takemichi basically also took a lot of dojos under their control, and with that, it was very, beneficial, because remember, someone that couldn't fight with Takemichi didn't really have any respect for. Although they turned to the dojos, and actually they have to be respectful. So now by the time it's more, good. Most of Tomon does know some form of martial arts, or the basics at least. And now we're going to get into the Valhalla arc. Now the gang Kisaki started took over a lot of old Tomon areas, got a lot more members, but a lot of the businesses wouldn't pay for protection from Kisaki's gang. Well, let's say this is called Bonten, not Kantomanchi gang. So Bonten isn't being paid for protection, so they attack the ex-businesses that were under Tomon's protection. But Tomon still got calls from them, so they would still help, and Bonten's fought off. But now, Bonten's broken into groups: Valhalla, Tenjiku, and Mobius. Those are the groups inside Bonten. So with that, this leads to Takemichi basically like just figuring out the groups, and he has Mucho leave Tomon, but as a spy for Tenjiku. That's one of the groups. So Mucho will end up sneaking into that group, and then we have Coco sneaking into the main group, which is Valhalla, and we have let's say Arashi sneaking. Arashi's like a big buff guy who has a beard. He sneaks into Mobius, and yeah. So we have Valhalla, Mobius, and Tenjiku infiltrated. I almost forgot the word. So as they're infiltrated, Kisaki's able to figure this out almost after 3 days, but doesn't know who's the infiltrator. Which leads to him saying they're going to start a war with Tokyo Manji Gang. They agree with this as Arashi, Mucho was like, oh yeah, he was a spy for Izuna. Izuna is like, all right, you weren't, but you're giving me some information, which is very believable because it was on old Tomon. No one knew it was old Tomon. So yeah. Now Takemichi, he would hear about Mucho giving information to Tomon, but old Tomon, so he's okay with it. Arashi will do the same thing. Same with Arashi. Arashi does the same thing, and yeah. So Arashi, Kyoko also gives like some money information. Like yeah, I got some advice on money, and that's really it. So they get that, and now Saki's like, all right, it was infiltrators, and I can't tell if it's the new members from old Tomon, but they gave us advice, and they gave us good advice and a lot of information. So we're able to consider them not traitors. This information's outdated, so it doesn't matter anymore. But still, war with one of Tomon's groups, or one of Tomon's captains, or divisions, is now established. They have 6 divisions, or 6 or 7, well, 6 divisions, and now they want war with one of them, that one division being the division of Baji. Baji's going to be the main star of the Valhalla arc. Takemichi will oversee the battle, but from the shadows. Takemichi will end up just kind of watching from a distance as Valhalla and Tomon, or Valhalla and the first division, or not first, second division, go into battle. As they go into battle, they begin fighting, and as they fight, it's very just, how do I say this? I don't know what I'd call it. A one-sided battle completely. Valhalla headed up by Hanma. Baji's beating the living hell out of Hanma. I'll be honest, it's funny. Like, this Baji had learned some more martial arts. He had perfected but he got pretty good in a martial art, and that was jiu-jitsu. So when he got Hanma in a hole, because Sora began double hitting Hanma, and they were able to take him down. And eventually Chifuyu even joined in, taking down Hanma. But Chifuyu mainly took down excuse me, I'm looking the names real quick. Chome, Chonbu, and Choji. Chifuyu's able to take them down pretty easily himself. But now Hamno was able to take them down himself, and yeah. Well, Hanma was able to take him down by Baji and Kasura. I don't know if I said that, but okay, so Hanma's taken down. Chome and Chonbu and Choji are down, and once they're taken down, lots of Valhalla are discouraged. They don't know what to do. So it's not really too fun. So yeah. But eventually, by the time they're taken down, they wanna just retreat and actually join Tomon sometimes, because that's how a lot of gangs were. That's how a lot of gangs were. It's just if you lose, you get absorbed into this gang. In Valhalla, I'm pretty sure I said I have Arashi. So Arashi in the middle of a fight, he traded sides, taking down most of Valhalla himself too. When they're done, then they go back to Tomon. Well, first they go to Takemichi once he revealed himself, and they go back. So let me tell you now, this one is kind of just a little, it's just on a rush because I have to go soon. But sorry I couldn't make this as long as I wanted to. I wanted it to be like 3 hours, but I only got 1 hour in. So, if you guys enjoyed this 1 hour instead of 3, bye.